you know it's gonna get serious and nerdy when the digital calipers come out. So I'm a big fan of 650B, a lot of you guys are, and I'm getting a ton of questions about 650B versus 700C and this whole multi-wheel size thing. So behind me we've got the Warbird version 4. This is the new one that offers this multi-wheel size compatibility. And below, the orange one is the version 3, a bike that I've always wished would come out in the 650B but retain that same kind of nimbleness yet suppleness in the ride. And the first question we're gonna ask is, will it take 650B? In the front, there's completely no problem, but in the rear, that's when things get really tight and the clearances probably won't allow. So I'm gonna measure the tires. On my calipers, these Gravel Kings on the WTB wheel set that came with this bike, it's actually pretty close. It's about 39, but essentially 40 millimeter. Unfortunately, however, looking at the clearances in the back, it's pretty tight even at 40 millimeter. So I think squeezing something in like the Horizon Byways, and especially the Gravel Kings, the 27.5, 1.9 on this Chris King wheel set will definitely, it might fit, but it's gonna be tight and there's gonna be no room for error. So in terms of version 3 being a good candidate for 650B conversion, I would probably say no, don't do it. So let's talk about the version 4 Warbird. If you're not familiar, this year's model is supposedly multi-wheel size. They've got one 650B version and this is it. The rest are built around 700 by 40 millimeter tires. And this is pretty interesting because, like I mentioned, the height difference between 700 by 40 and 650B by 47 is fairly considerable in my opinion. So for example, like this would be the equivalent diameter of a 700 by 28. So to go from a 40 to 28, you know, there's just gonna be changes in how it rides. So far I've been riding it in 650B mode and it's okay. I feel like in terms of nimbleness and liveliness, it's been dialed down just a bit. It's kind of hard to figure out how much of that is the actual geometry and how much of that comes to the wheel and tire size. They did make a lot of geometry tweaks. The sizing is completely different. It's generally a little bit longer and a little bit more stretched out. They tamed kind of the raciness of the version 3 a little bit. So I think what I'm gonna do is do a wheel swap. I'm gonna go reverse. Usually I try the 650B things. In this video, I'm gonna 700C the 650B version of the bike. Hopefully the wheel set fits, and I'm gonna take it for a quick spin and see if that changes the ride or how it changes the ride. Well, that was kind of a bust. I took the wheel off of the version 3, version 4, thinking that would be the easiest to swap, but the axle standard is completely different. Wheel sets aren't interchangeable between 3 and 4. So there's that. I plan to do a video, you know, hopefully talking about the different ride between the 650B version of version 4 and with the 700C wheel set, but I don't have a compatible wheel set for version 4. So that's not gonna happen. I know Hellgate in town has a couple 700C versions. Maybe I can hop on one of those for like 5-10 minutes and just give kind of some initial impressions. But, so sorry about that. I was hoping to have a kind of deeper dive into this whole topic since I just had a whole comments conversation with someone on a previous video asking all these questions. Sorry, Tim, can't answer your questions in a video. But I will share my final thoughts about this whole multi-wheel size thing. I think it's cool that it's happening, but honestly, I feel like a lot of people in the bike industry are still kind of in a wait and see mode with 650B, Road Plus, whatever you want to call it. And although they're building bikes that claim to be multi-wheel size compatible, and yes, they feel multi-wheel size compatible, they generally, I think, in my opinion, at least the ones I've ridden, are definitely optimized for the 700C wheel size. And of the multi-wheel size bikes I've tried, you know, when I put a 650B wheel set there, you do get the suppleness from the tire, but the bike just becomes less responsive. I think that's a function of everything just dropping down a little bit. You know, maybe the trail numbers change. Most bikes are designed with an ideal like wheel and tire combination, and for it to really accommodate such a wide array of potential diameters and widths, something's got to give. They're gonna design it primarily for one tire size they have in mind and make it compatible. It's kind of like an afterthought. So that's why I'm actually not too stoked about it. Of all the recent gravel bikes I've reviewed. The bikes that I feel handled best as a 650B bike were designed specifically around 650B wheels and tires. So, you know, Midnight Special, Kona Robe NRB DL. I will say there was an exception to that, and that was the Otso Wahila S. That's multi-wheel size. I asked them to send it as a 650B bike, and it rode surprisingly fun. But again, with that bike, you can kind of alter the chainstay length, and that kind of accounts for the multi-wheel size stuff. So I know with my other personal bike, the Salsa Via, I converted it to 650B, and I thought it lost a little bit of its pep. Yes, it gained its suppleness, but it just felt a little bit too tame for me, and I was getting pedal strike when I took it on the trails. So again, your preference might vary, however. You know, it might be that you want a bike that feels a little bit more stable, in which case, you know, these conversions are fine, but I want a supple and kind of lively ride at the same time. Let me know what you guys think. Have any of you guys played with 650B conversions on your 700C bikes? How did it affect the ride? Are you guys fans of this multi-wheel size thing that's happening? Or are you like me and you just wish that they would kind of commit to a 650B bike and make it the best bike that they can? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, like, share, subscribe, and as always, keep the supple side down.